My name is Stephanie Fusco, and this is my story of anxiety and depression. My story of anxiety all started when I was 6 years old, and my grandfather was diagnosed with brain cancer. I was homeschooled, so he came to live with us because my mom and I were always home. And I remember seeing him up on oxygen because he had trouble breathing. I remember he was choking and coughing and just he couldn't catch his breath, and that's when I really started to worry. Fears crept in, like, well, what if I start choking like that? What if I start choking and I can't catch my breath? What if I stop breathing and my body decides that it just doesn't want to do what it's supposed to do anymore and I die? And it was at this point where I kind of referred to myself as the what if warrior because, well, what if it happened to me? I thought that everything that could happen was going to happen to me. And I just kind of accepted it, that I was an anxious person. I was a worrier. Everybody had their thing in life, and mine was fear. And I just kind of learned to manage it throughout my life. But it hit me in a new way when I was 13. I was at youth group, and we were watching the movie To Save a Life. And that was the first time I was really introduced to the concept of suicide. Never really heard about it, never really saw it. Nobody really talked to me about it, and I just was shocked. I was paralyzed with fear. I remember looking around and everybody was just watching the movie, and I was just so afraid. Why would somebody do that? Why would somebody choose to hurt themselves? Why would someone choose to end their life? How do I know that I wouldn't do that? I mean, what makes me any different from them? And I just remember being so consumed by this fear. How do I know I'm not capable of hurting myself, especially suffering with anxiety? And I just got plagued by fear and depression and spiraling into this dark hole and panic attacks and just overwhelmed with fear. And it became a loop in my head. I would think, what if I hurt myself? And I would have to talk myself out of it, like, no, I don't want to hurt myself. And it would go away, but a few minutes later it would come back. And this loop caused me to think, well, I don't want to hurt myself because I love my life. I have a great life. But what if I do hurt myself because I want to get away from this anxiety and fear? This isn't the life that I want to live. And so I started going to counseling. And I was diagnosed with generalized anxiety disorder, depression, and OCD. And it was through this that I learned why I had these looping thoughts that wouldn't stop, these fears that I just could not get to go away. And it was because my body was not producing enough serotonin. And so I had to get put on a medication to help my serotonin uptake. And it took months to get the dosage right. And so for months I still struggled with fear and just no peace. Peace came when I went to sleep, and so I always looked forward to going to bed, and I hated when I had to wake up in the morning because that meant I had to face my fears again. And so I just continued. I went to counseling, and just one day I just remember I was in my family room and had my Bible because I carried it with me everywhere. I read through that Bible. There were so many tears on the pages of that Bible. And I never understood when people said to get on your knees and surrender. I didn't know what that meant. But I remember one day I just fell to my knees and I hit my face into the floor and I cried. And I cried out to God and I said to him, I'm like, I don't know why you're doing this. I don't know why you're letting this happen to me, but I know you're going to do something through it, so you got to get me through this. I can't without you. There's no hope aside from you, and my hope is in you, and so I'm trusting you. And if you're real, you're going to get me through this. And so I went to therapy, and she told me, my therapist, she said, your fear is like an ant, and you're holding this giant magnifying glass in front of it, and you're making it way bigger than it is. And you need to take that magnifying glass away. You need to look at it for what it is. It's small, and it's not real. And so she said, write your fears down on paper and put truth to them. So I did that every night. I would sit in bed with my mom, and I would just pen all the fears of that day out. I would write them all out, and I would put truth to them. Even if I didn't believe it, I would say, that's not true. I'm not going to hurt myself. I love my life. Life is good. God loves me. He has a plan for me. He's not going to leave me even when it feels like he's not here. And I did that, and she would have me talk to myself in the mirror. And I did that for countless times every day. And some days I still have to do that. And if I felt anxious, I would look in the mirror and I would say, you are strong. God is getting you through this. You are not your fear. Your fear is not real. It's not going to overtake you. It's not going to consume you. You can do all things through Christ who gives you strength. You are powerful, and you're going to get through this. And I did that, and I did the whole fake it till you make it. I told myself I was okay, even when I didn't believe it. I told myself I was going to get through this, even when I doubted it. And it was like, it was there one day, and then one day it wasn't. And I had a chance to speak at a speaking engagement to share my story. And I remember getting up on stage and sharing it. And then afterwards, a girl came up to me. She was my age. And she said, I'm going through everything you went through. And your story really helped me. And it was then that I knew why. I knew the why that I was always asking God. I knew why I went through it, even if it was just to help her. And so I thanked him and I said, thank you, God. Even if I went through 8 months of what felt like, or you can't even describe, this fear and anxiety, even if I suffered with that every day nonstop for what felt like eternity, even if I went through all that for just her, to know that she was not alone, that it was all worth it. And that's why I want to share it, my story, because even if it helps just one person, then I'm okay with everything I went through. And when I agreed to share my story, I had people close to me telling me not to, because they said it would make me look weak, or that people would know things about me and they would use them against me in the future. And I remember God telling me to do it anyway, because I knew to myself, if I didn't share what I went through out of fear of what somebody else would think, then everything I went through was pointless. It was for nothing if I can't share it to help somebody. And so I want to encourage you to share your story regardless of what others say, because it's going to help somebody, and it will all be worth it for that one person, because there is freedom in sharing your story.
Your word remains true.